right? So if this is a key level because it's a fair value gap, and we're going to be going into key levels in the next kind of session in a lot of detail. But what happened over here is super, super interesting, right? So when price comes into a key level, in this case, it is a potential selling level because we had a fair value gap over here. As price came into this level, we want to be reading what's happening with the orders, right? We want to be reading, see from the last session is we can see the bid and the ask, and the market is an auction. So let's start with the bid and the ask. If we look over here, right, let's start with this candle. If we look over here, this is 0 by 60. So what that means from an order flow perspective is that there's no market participants hitting the bid. There's only market participants hitting the ask, right? So for those who remember from the previous session, we called this a finished auction, right? So this was a finished auction. So if we move on, the volume, which we're going to come on to, right? A finished auction was when there's a 0 on one side. A 0 on one side means there's no aggressive buyers or aggressive sellers, right? The entire auction is wiped out. So that means buyers, and for basic knowledge, when you see a 0, that means that buyers and sellers have both agreed on a fair price. So if we take this back and we just use a little bit of logic here. When price comes into a bearish fair value gap, we want to know if that bearish fair value gap is actually going to hold. We want to know if the aggressive sellers are going to show up. We want to know if sellers are really in control. So how do we do that? So order flow allows us to essentially see who's in the most pain and who is being absorbed, right? Who is being exhausted, right? These are terms I'm going to go over in this video. So if we see a lot of aggressive buyers, coming into a bearish fair value,